I'm standing here with Jos Benschop from ASML. Everybody knows you as a company, but what does ASML do?
ASML builds machines that are used to produce chips. So we print patterns on wafers. We are built basically the nano copying machines.
How much sales?
It's about a 5 billion company.
How much does a machine cost?
Several tens of millions of dollars. So these are
wonderful gadgets.
Complex machines.
Now, you gave a talk here on the complexity, a grip on complexity. How can complexity theory help you? What kind of complex problems do you basically come into into building these complex machines?
Well, first let me admit that actually I'm not at all from this field. I'm used to break down complex systems to smaller problems, which we then solve and then we add them all up. And actually preparing for this day, a grip on complexity, I discovered that complexity does play a role in our industry, much bigger than I actually had known. And I illustrated that with 3 cases. And perhaps the most interesting case is a case where we describe the technology ecosystem. You know, which are our suppliers, which are our technology partners, which are our customers.
Very complex network, yeah.
It's an increasingly complex network. I mean, the whole industry comes from very vertically integrated. We are a spin-off of Philips that built their own equipment, producing their own chips, going in their own television.
Reduce complexity. Yeah.
This was a very simple system. Now it's very complex. And actually what struck me this morning when there were speakers that are really experts in the field, that I'm actually sitting in an industry where we're just waiting for a natural disaster to happen.
Like the financial industry, you're waiting for big bucks hitting the systems with these trillions of transistors. Yeah.
They're complex networks, systems, ecosystems, partner systems like ours are vulnerable. And so now I think the big challenge now to this community is how can we describe it? How can we adapt the network such that we are more robust to changes that are inevitable to happen?
Okay. So you're very well warned that disasters will happen and you want to be prepared for it. Now, we're talking about here, how can we structure research so that complexity research can be also used for companies like ASML? How would you do that?
Now, several things were said about how to structure research. You have to get a big, interesting scientific theme, but then it's also good to have an application in mind, a usefulness in mind. So, for example, what I just said, how can we describe our network and how can we adapt the network such that it is more robust to changes? But keeping this in mind, you know, let the PhDs go off and they probably will find this surprising things that can be applicable to us or the banking industry or you name what.
And it's really amazing because you make highly complex machines, which are completely on the border of what is scientifically possible to manufacture, to produce, but also to think. All kinds of strange things happen to make a teeny willow. How interesting that complexity theory has not entered your industry, has not entered your technology. Aren't there very complex predictability models which you basically need to do your job?
No, I think the bulk of our work, you know, 99% of our work still consists of you break down a complex system, you have an expert on lenses, you have an expert on stages, you have an expert on software. All these experts work in parallel in their projects, and we have found ways how to bring it all together. So, but this field really can, you know, add to that. Having a different way of looking into our machine, having a different way to looking how we work, probably open up some mind. So we will probably become knowingly incompetent.
Now, let me ask you, there's nothing to do with complexity, but how does ASML stay so competitive and stay so innovative? What is your innovation model? How do you always getting to the next level? And how can you get your biggest clients to invest in the next generation of your technology? I find that amazing.
Well, that's probably a long answer, but let me try to give a very short answer. So again, the power lies into the system, into the ecosystem. We heavily rely upon our partners to share the innovation burden, and we bring it together into a complete system. And so we really draw upon the intellect, not just from university, also suppliers, you know, they can be immensely creative. The whole challenge is not to have an invention. The whole challenge is to have an invention you can build. And there, exactly, it's a complex interaction of people. You have to be sharp and you need some luck.
You need to be trusted.
Trust is actually an extremely important element in this whole system, and it is something we build upon. Yes.
Okay. So we need to put that into the complex theory. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Nee.